We're going to begin with Rabbi Biton. Today is the day for starting with Rabbi Biton. Let me make sure that I understand where we start. It's still a little confusing to me, this SEFER. Okay. Yes. All right, we're on page Yud. I think, let's see, we're on the bottom of page Yud. We're on this little piece of Torah down here at the last paragraph. And he says, Mamaor ki YESOD harakia. So we had this phrase here, this phrase with rakia, which I understand refers to YESOD in general. Shema'al ha'chayos, that's up, that is the rakia above the chayos, on Nizkar b'Mari Yecheskel, and Mamaor lama nikra rakia, and explains why it's called rakia. So the Pirush Hut says, V'ihu rakia de'ihu la'el mehevavan. So he said, V'zecha sod ha'rakia shebim'al ha'chayos. There's a little note on number mem daled. We're going to come back and look at some notes. He says, Hadul dersev, this is the meaning of this phrase, V'zecha memashin ne'emba b'yecheskel. Im'al rakia, and from above to the rakia, I think it's Asher al Rosham, which is above their heads. V'nosen tam lakin uich YESOD b'shem rakia, b'kahau v'hafoch osius rakia, take those letters, of tishlach le, and you will find something, v'nem sechatevis iker. Iker is the word rakia. Iker means root, or the origin of everything. Because this is the root, this is of the secret, and the YESOD of the Merkava, the bottom part of the Merkava, by YESOD Shalom Malchus. Now he says here we're talking about the YESOD of Malchus. And I'm a little mixed up about which YESOD he's talking about all the time, but let's take this one. YESOD Shalom Malchus. Shehi, now here's the trick, is to find the right place. So which is called, Malchus is called Alma de Iskasia. Alma de Ha'olam Amakusa. Now let me see if I got the right place. Just make sure I just get confused with this. Shehi Alma de Iskasia. Va'al Tzadik de Lasata, and on there's a lower Tzadik. There's also the upper tzaddik and the lower tzaddik. There's YESOD in two different places, perhaps. And the upper tzaddik, so when he says that, I'm not sure what he means exactly, what YESOD he's talking about. The world that is revealed, let's start back onto the notes here and just read a little bit to the first line. So he says, Shema'al ha'chayos, and now he has a phrase on this. I'm going to find number mem daled. It's in here somewhere. And there it is, down at the bottom. So he says, Ki ofanim heim ba'asiya, he says that the concept of wheels is our world. It's the world in which we live. Remember Rabbi Memran saying that when you get through this world, then you go to the next world, there are also challenges there too, which is up above on the top of the column. He says, Ki ofanim heim ba'asiya, and chayos are yivitzia, and srafim are bebria. Nimsa shahachayos heim b'yitzira lamata mebria below beria. Now the Gra says, Pirush shahachayos heim hamalchus. So I'm having a little trouble figuring once again. The chayos refers to malchus. That is, I think he means to say the malchus of the upper parts of. V'rakia shema'al rosham hu YESOD. And so therefore that kind of goes together. It's the Malchus. He says that that part which is up above it goes along with Yesod. So I'm not sure that it does make a lot of sense, but we're going on and we'll see if we can make a little bit more sense. So he said, I'm going back once again to the Pirush Rahut. It's a lot of movement around here on the page. So he says, it goes right away to Yechezkel, is Ma'al Rukia Asher Al Rosham, which is up above their heads. Heads of what? Heads of who? What's going on here? That was Mem Daled. We have to find Mem number Mem Hey. Member Hay says, in regards to Yechezkel, he says, Ma'al Rukia Shel Al Rosham Kamare Even Sapir, the most kisei, looks like a throne. So we start saying throne, we start thinking of Olam Abriya. Val Demus HaKisei, and up above the Demus of that Kisei is the Demus Kamara Adam, is an image of the appearance of a man. All of which is above it, the Lamala. So again, this is the vision of Yechezkel. Yechezkel the Nafim Mitayer as Ma Shara B'Mara Merkava, so he explains it. Ki Ma'al HaChayos, which is Olam HaYetzira, and he says the Chayos, Hayat up above the Chayos. He said previously Chayos refers to Malchus, so he says Ma'alav the most Kisei, and then up above the Rekia is the image of a throne. Abir B'Kisei Melech, what's he explained, Iki HaChayos HaMerkava Hein B'Yetzira. So the Chayos and the Merkava are in Yetzira. Ma'alechem HaRekia, and then up above that place, Shuhu HaYesod, the Bria, is the Yesod of Bria. So here we have the Malchus L'Biki HaChayos HaMerkava Hein B'Yetzira. Ma'alechem HaRekia Shu Yesod the Bria. Ma'al HaRekia is the image of a throne. The Hainu Shar Sephiras Olam Abriya Anikra Kisei, all the rest of them, which refer to the Kisei because there were steps up to the throne and so on and so forth. That's the involvement there. Okay, little by little, we're trying to zero in. I mean, there's Malchus and there's Malchus. There's a Malchus of Bria and there's a Malchus of Atzilus. And which one is he talking about? Now we're moving to number Mem Vav, which is still back at the previous page. We'll find it here. Here's Mem Vav. He says, after the word V'hafoch Osius Rekia V'tishkach Le, the word Iker. So what's pshat in the word Iker? Going over to number Mem Vav on the next page. He says, Kolomar HaYesod Nikra Rekia Shuhu Osius Iker, Ki Yesod Hu Iker, Lahamshach Sashefa V'Lakiyam Hanimsoim Ba'olam. V'darko Mashpi, V'darko, and in its path, let me get this right, there we go. V'darko Mashpias Kol Spheros, and through its path, shine in, or let's pour in, Kol HaSpheros L'Tachtonim, into the lower world. This is the connection place between the higher and the lower world for Al-Kain. Al-Kain called Yesod Nikra Rekia, so that's the reason why. Whatever Yesod is called by that name. Rei Od, because whatever it does in its own world, that's the hashpah that we're talking about. Rei Od B'Biur HaZohar B'Shem or Yakar. So we're going to see the Biur HaZohar later. And we'll get into that a little bit more. It's a little bit harder, that one. So let's see, where would I be then? That was number Mem Vav. So now we're coming around the corner, starting at the bottom of the previous page, getting a little bit of focus here. So he says, number Vav, let's see, we're doing Mem Vav. Now I forgot what we're doing. We're doing Mem Zayin. So V'ha Osis Rekia, it makes Iker, the Fishu Ha Iker v'Yesod of the Merkava, and it's the Yesod of the Merkava, Yesod Shalom Malchus. Now he's saying a definition. He says the Merkava represents Malchus. Shehi Merkava Lezer Anpin, because Malchus is what? I'm trying to think of what a chariot does, or a vehicle, let's say, it does for Zer Anpin. She is the vehicle of Zer Anpin. So what does he mean by that? So now we're on number Mem Zion. Let me see if I can find it. Mem Vov Mem Zion. Here it is. So he says, Af Sha'ad Khan Doiver al Yesod Debriya. Now, up until this time, when he was talking about the Kisei, and it is a little vague. So when he was talking about the Kisei, he was talking about the Yesod of Bria. Bekol Makom Kol Yesod Shebekol Olam Nikra Rakia. So you see, it's always a Rakia. It's always the Iker place. Hashem Yesod Sheberatzilus Shenikra Rakia. Hashem Shuhu Iker v'Yesod the Merkava. So this is the main part. It's the Yesod for or of the Merkava. Once again, he said the Merkava is Malchus. Shehi Malchus the Ratzilus, which is the Malchus of Etzilus. Going on, there's a Mem Ches here, and it says, after the phrase the Ale Kaima Hevavan V'Korsia the Merkava Iloh. Let's see what he says on number Mem Ches. Number Mem Ches says, Kolomer al Yesod de Atzilus. Am I in the right place? Let me see, Mem Ches, yeah. Kolomer al Yesod de Atzilus. So we're talking about the Yesod of Atzilus. And the Yesod of Atzilus delivers to the Malchus of Atzilus, which is a doorway to the outer world, to the lower worlds. Kolomer al Yesod de Atzilus. Omdem sheish kitzvos shel Atzilus anikraim chayos gedolos, which are called the big chayos, large chayos. V'hamerkava elyona, which is the Malchus, the Atzilus. That's giving an idea now. This is where everything has to go, ultimately into Malchus, and Malchus is going to be the transporter of all this Shefa. V'kevet shekan b'daber b'Malchus the Atzilus. So since here we're talking about the Malchus of Atzilus, Korah lo Korsia de Merkovto. That's the use of that phrase, the throne of the chariot. So he said, which is the beginning pour into Olam Abriya, V'lo Korsia, but he doesn't say just the word Korsia. He says Korsia de Merkovto, so we understand we're talking about Olam Atzilus. V'lo Korsia Stam, he just doesn't say the throne, which could be any Yesod, any part of Bria, any Bria in relationship to a Bia, let's see, the Bria, Yitzira, and the Sia all have these same qualities. Okay, so I think that we got through that little piece there. Now we're going back up to the top, and let me see how the time works. So the time is working, okay. So he says, now we're going to go to the top, and we're going to go to the next kete. It says, Ke'ez mevayer as hemshek hapasul umatzdike harabim. So we have this phrase, matzdike harabim. Those who, what? Perfect, bring tzedek, or bring shefa to the rabbim. Bavarki who romas the shtei bechinas tzaddik. So he says, wait, there's two different aspects of the tzaddik. So they're harder to hear. Ki yesh tzaddik elyon. Sha'alav Omed Olam Mechusa. So who is the Olam Mechusa? There's an upper tzaddik, and he has this phrase which is troubling to me, is the word Omed. Now Omed sounds like it's standing, it's sitting on top of it, is this Omed Olam Mechusa. But tzaddik tachton, Sha'alav Omed Olam HaNigla. Okay, so the tzaddik, the two tzaddik, one is hidden, one is not. We have here no notes, so let's go to the actual phrase in the TIKUNEI ZOHAR. So he says, Va'ale itmar, in regards to it, it is said, Va'al rekia chazecha b'shuchu b'bechinis yesod k'nizker ne'emar, in regards to this, it says, V'tzaddik yesod olam. So there's a mem test there, keep going. V'shtei bechinas tzaddik yesh. Al tzaddik de la'ela, there's a tzaddik up above. V'al tzaddik ha'elyon, kaima, and on that upper tzaddik, kaima alma de iskasya, is is, let's try to figure out a better word for kaima. Kaima means sustains the hidden world. I'll just try that. Amad iskasia omada olam mechusa. So there's another note on that. Val tzadik de l'sata, then we come to the tzadik down below. Val tzadik de taktam kaima alma disgalia, omid de oilam benigla. Now he hasn't really given me a really good idea of what he means by a tzadik de miskasia. Miskasia, what's he talking about? So we have just a couple of minutes, or 1 minute here. So let's try number. There is a long Yud Gimel. We're not going to do that, which is a little harder for me to understand. So he said, we have that one phrase. Let's look at Memtas and try to get something out of it. In Mishlei, there's a quote in Mishlei, Ka'avur sofa, ve'ein rosh v'tzadik yisod olam. So exactly because passing through the end. Let's see what he says. And it's hard to understand this pasuk. Pirish v'betzudas David ka'avur sofa, passing through its end. What does that mean? Miyad, he says ka'asher ya'aver hasofa. What does ya'avor hasofa mean? That's the question. Is a ritzon lomer ka'asher tavo aparanios. You chorus a rasha ve'enenu, then you're going to completely cut off the rasha and he won't be there anymore. Aval tzadik. Now, what does that mean? Once again, it will eliminate the rasha. Aval tzadik, the YESOD olam, is looking like the foundation of the world. She'ena zaz b'mekomo, never leaves his place. Of a Zohar, but Makoms Rabim, so in the Zohar in many different places. Mavur Mikan Ki Akinui Tzadik Hu YESOD. So we have this word, we know that from other places. Bir Bekise Melech also explains over there. Ki Anukva Bekol Makom Be'atzilus Oberia, when we say the word Malchus, anytime we use that, the female, Nikras Olam, she's called Olam Lashon Halam. V'tzadik shu YESOD, hu hakiyum v'YESOD shalo, that is what really sustains her, and really brings her. That is, brings her to her YESOD. Rei od b'biuri Zohar. There's a lot more here, and I guess we'll stop right there. There's very little time, so try to get into a little bit on